And now, live from the Macon studios of News Talk 940 WMAC, it's Your Money.
Good morning, Middle Georgia, and welcome to Your Money. We are Randy and Sherri Goss with Rosenberg Financial Group. And as financial advisors, the main thing that we do is provide retirement planning and advice and manage our clients' investment accounts. So if you're looking for a financial advisor, please contact our office and set up your complimentary consultation. Our office number is 478-922-8100, and we have offices at Macon and Warner Robins for your convenience. To find out more about us, visit our website, retirerelax.com, where you can read a number of special reports and listen to past radio show broadcasts. You can also sign up to receive our digital feed, which provides great information on various subjects in a short video format. And we also offer free seminars to the communities, our civic groups. So if you'd like to have a guest speaker, give us a call, and we'll get Sherri on the phone with you, and y'all can figure out what kind of topic you want to cover. And let's see, lastly, if you'd like to call in today, the number is 478-742-0940, or you can send me an email at randy@rfmoney.com, as Sherri's choking to death over here, and we can cover your question in a future broadcast. What a great-looking morning, huh, Sherri?
Very nice.
85 for the high, and tomorrow will be great coffee-sipping weather at 63 degrees on the back porch. So anyway, let's see, the first thing I wanted to talk about was there's a new shopping center proposed for North Macon. And if you like to shop, then you have something to look forward to. Developers want to bring in a new shopping center to the North Macon, not far from the shops at River Crossing and the North Macon Plaza Shopping Center. The building designs have the same aesthetics as these centers. It's going to look nice. Developers want to create a Riverside center, and the project application said it will sit along Bass Road, New Forsyth Road, and Riverside Drive. I can't quite put it exactly where it's going to be, but it's going to be about 400,000 square foot, and it's going to have a wholesale club with a gas station. So the new shopping center should provide about 1,100 new job opportunities. And speculation for that shopping for the
wholesale club.
Yes, thank you. Is going to be a Costco, but no one's really come out and said that that's exactly what it's going to be.
I've been trying to get a Costco out here forever.
Right. So there will be this is going to be reviewed by the Macon Bid Planning and Zoning at their October 23rd meeting.
Okay. So a couple of announcements. The Small Business Development Center, which is next to our office in Macon, is hosting a Women of Business conference on October 19th at Middle Georgia State University. I attended and was a presenter last year and met some really great people. So if you are a woman who owns a business, call and sign up today. Their number is 478-757-3609. Or email me at Sherri, Sherri, at rfmoney.com, and I'll forward the flyer to you. And mark your calendars for October 6th through the 8th, when the 567 Center in Macon hosts an all-hands art festival. You can browse vendors, watch demonstrations, enjoy live music. They'll have food trucks and more. Festival takes place outside the Grand Opera House. Email me if you would like to see the schedule, and I will forward it to you.
Yeah, and they always do a great job when they're bringing the artists out. So
that's going to be a lot of fun.
And you know, something we didn't realize until this morning was that October 5th starts the Georgia National Fair.
I had no idea.
Man, it seemed like it was just yesterday for us. I mean, but anyway, Neil, our wonderful switchboard operator here, a production manager. What do you call yourself? A producer. That's the better word. Anyway, he gave me a multi-page flyer, and it looks like a lot of fun stuff in there this year. Some great bands. Our own Macon's own Grapevine will be playing. So let's see, Lee Greenwood's going to be there. I mean, just a bunch of really good music is going to be happening. So anyway, make your plans. October 5th through the 15th.
Very good. So Investors Business Daily this morning, gold prices keep sinking, may go negative in 2023. If you're all in on gold, pay attention. When the market recovers, prices will drop, and there's no surprise. If you go to Yahoo Finance, at the very head of the page, it has the S&P, the Dow, it has all the indicators. And you can see the activity anytime you want to. And if you scroll to the right, you'll see the price of gold and silver. And click on gold and look at the historic lifetime valuation of gold. When the market starts going up, gold drops. When the market is down, gold is up. And so you have to pay attention to this because
it's just like any investment.
Yes, but it's inverse to the S&P 500.
Usually.
So if you are Yes, usually when things are normal. So if you have a bunch of gold, you need to pay attention. S&P was down slightly for the week. Inflation is cooling. If you ignore the price of gas, we're getting a break due to Governor Deal, but some consumers nationwide are paying $6.50 a gallon for regular.
Is that California?
I didn't write that down.
Okay. That's high.
We have a great chart that shows sector performance for last year and this year, year to date. And so the market constantly, and the news constantly talks about what sector is positive, but they leave out the fact that it was down last year. So you have, let me see, communications is flat. I should have written a note around this. Energy is up yet last year and this year. There was one that I was going to talk about. Healthcare is down. What's the one that was industrials are flat? Oh, IT. IT is the only sector that is really, truly up for year over year. It was down 28 last year, is up 35 this year. Anyways, headlines for the week. Anthony Fauci says he still needs a security detail after Ron DeSantis threatened to grab that little elf and chuck him across the Potomac.
I laughed when I saw that. I mean, I hate that he's being stalked, but it's, my goodness, what a funny thing for DeSantis to say.
I thought it was funny, too. I don't think Anthony Fauci thought it was very funny.
I don't think he did either. You know.
President Joe Biden joined United Auto Workers members Tuesday on the picket line outside Detroit and urged strikers to continue their fight for new contracts. This is what he said. The fact of the matter is, you guys, the UAW, you saved the auto industry back in 2008 and before. You made a lot of sacrifices, gave up a lot when the companies were in trouble, but now you're doing incredibly well, Biden told union members through a bullhorn. You should be doing incredibly well, too, he said. Stick with it. You deserve a significant raise and other benefits, Biden said, wearing a UAW hat. We saved them. It's about time they step up for us. He's including himself as a United Auto Worker. The guy's out of his mind. And you don't encourage people to continue to strike and demand $40 an hour pay. What is his place in this? I don't understand what he's doing. Anyway, so it's the first time a president has ever joined a strike in this way. A number of economists are speculating that a government shutdown would hurt the economy enough to stop the Fed from raising interest rates again. And an article in The Economist yesterday mentioned that when the staffers of our politicians don't get paid, they will figure out a fix because they're going to be screaming at them. The United Auto Workers announced a new stand of strike locations on Friday morning, once again extending the strike strategy, which now enters its third week. 7,000 UAW members across those Ford and GM plants went on strike yesterday.
Yeah, and per the president of the United Auto Workers, the strike against Ford and General Motors will be expanded to target Ford's Chicago assembly plant and GM's Lansing, Michigan plant. Apparently, the strikes will not include any additional members at Stellantis. The strike will expand to about 25,000 workers, according to media reports. MT Newswires, which basically is a publication that just deals with the financial things in the United States and global, reported that following the UAW's leadership decision to expand the strike, Executive Vice President for Global Manufacturing wrote to the employees saying, "We still have not received a comprehensive counteroffer from the UAW leadership to our latest proposal." And that proposal was submitted to the union on September 21st. So Ford said that the UAW is holding up a contract deal mainly over a battery plant that won't come online for another 2 to 3 years, if at all. On September 12th, the company made an offer and has been improving it ever since to no avail. Ford President and CEO Jim Farley, which I really like this guy, has made it clear that he does not like the tactics being used. He said that the UAW, if their goal was a record contract, they have already achieved this, and that is grossly irresponsible to escalate these strikes and hurt thousands of families.
Well, you're not building engines. Price of cars are going to go through the roof.
Right, and you know that there's a new UAW president, and he's trying to make a name for himself. So maybe he's trying to play harder ball than they're used to. So we just have to wait and see, because it is going to affect a lot of people, and it's also going to affect you if you're trying to go buy a car. So
drive your car for 12 years.
Yep.
Highly recommend it.
Yep. Anyway, Moving on, lawmakers are pushing ideas to end the government shutdown forever. A growing number of lawmakers on both sides of the aisle agree that perhaps these regular stoppages are a pattern worth trying to break. The federal government has shut down 3 times in the last decade alone, with the 4th increasingly seeming inevitable. These stoppages have rarely offered significant changes in policy, but have often left a economic problem. When they're done, there's no, I guess, cohesive thought about what it's going to do to the rest.
They don't care.
They don't care.
They keep getting paid.
The frustration has led to a surge in new interest in plans that aim to end shutdowns entirely, or at least make them much more difficult. Ironically, many of the proposed plans have been on the table before, and we will not bore you with the details because it will be a miracle if they agree to do any of these things that they're talking about now.
Yep. So, new Uniform Healthcare Decision Act. So this is about advance directives. In July, the Uniform Law Commission approved the new Uniform Healthcare Decisions Act. The Act governs advance directives, which I encourage all my clients to have done. Includes powers of attorney for healthcare, in which an individual appoints an agent to make healthcare decisions for them if they can become unable to make those decisions for themselves, and healthcare instructions to let healthcare professionals and agents know what care they want, their priorities for healthcare, and the values they want to guide healthcare decisions made for them. It also authorizes certain people to make healthcare decisions for individuals who cannot make their own decisions and have not appointed an agent to do so. In addition, the Act establishes certain duties and powers of healthcare agents and professionals and shields them from liability if they act reasonably and in good faith. Of course, the impact of the Act will depend on the extent to which it is adopted by the states. The critical next step is for those who care about respecting patient wishes and facilitating effective healthcare decision-making to advocate. So, I've been using caringinfo.org free for years and recommend everybody go to caringinfo.org, print out the Georgia Advance Directive, and fill it out and give a copy to the next person in line that is going to be there when something happens to you and you need help, because you need to be in control over your health care. And I'll tell you, I had a case last year, a client whose father was in hospice care. They expected him to live a couple of weeks. Well, because he was on a feeding tube and an IV, he lived 6 months and had no idea what planet he was on. I am not going through that. I do not want to waste the money on me going through that. And so I feel extremely strong about this. And so if you don't want that, you need to fill out the form and share it with your family and let them know what you want and what you don't want. If something were to happen to you and you end up in a critical situation, do you want to be on life support, or do you want to say goodbye? I mean, I'm out. I'm not going on life support. And so Randy and I have been agreeing on this stuff for years. We've told our kids. They have copies. I just think it's a big deal. And so you need to get it.
Yeah.
So caringinfo.org, absolutely free. It doesn't have to be notarized. Just get it done.
And, these are documents that what Sherri's talking about that you really need to review on a regular basis. And, just like the fire department tells you to check your battery and your fire alarm every year. You should do the same thing with all your critical financial documents and items like
and I have one more thing I just thought of. I had a client years ago who came to me. She went to McCullough Funeral Home to plan her funeral, and she wants to be cremated. She doesn't want to be buried. She hates the thought of wasting money on a casket and all of that. I totally agree with her. So anyways, her sister says, I'm going to show up and I'm going to stop you because you're going to hell if you're cremated. Now, she believes that. She believes she's going to go to hell if she's cremated because it's not godly or whatever.
I think my parents believe the same thing.
Yeah. So anyways, so she came to me and she goes, what do? I go, you fill out this advance directive and you put someone in charge of your burial or cremation, and you give a copy of it to the funeral home, and it'll shut her down.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's just one more thing you can do.
You done?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's talk about some batteries. I know we've talked about this a lot, but this one was pretty interesting, and it came from Toyota. Toyota may be just getting started in the EV race, and there's a grand total of one battery electric model on sale. But the automaker is already planning several generations ahead when it comes to its batteries. It revealed a detailed roadmap for its battery technology during the launch of the BEV factory in Europe, and is nothing short of ambitious. The automaker unveiled plans for 4 next-generation batteries it intends to produce in the coming years, each with different goals, technologies, ranges, and price points. When it comes to batteries with electric liquid electrolytes, Toyota divided them into 3 separate categories. The first, the automaker's performance lithium-ion battery tech, is slated to arrive by 2026 and promises a range of over 497 miles, in addition to a 20% reduction in cost compared to current lithium-ion batteries. And this battery also promises a rapid charging time of 20 minutes or less. The second battery family is dubbed Popularization and will be a lithium-ion phosphate composition, promising 20% increase in range as well as a 40% reduction in cost. This battery type is slated to arrive somewhere around 2027 and will target the fast recharging time that's half hour or less, which I think is pretty incredible. Sounds like the same thing
that the first one was.
No, there's nuances in the charging time and the cost and different things. So it will be a little bit slower to recharge, but it will still offer more range than the battery found in the automaker's debut of the electric SUV. Toyota's battery philosophy centers around making batteries custom to the vehicle and to the customer's needs. The third battery type Toyota plans is the production. It's going to be put in production in the coming years. Has been dubbed simply high performance, and it's pairing high nickel cathode with bipolar structure with the lithium-ion chemistry. That's Greek to me, but anyway, the battery promises to be 10% less expensive to produce than the performance type and will offer charging times of 20 minutes or less, and that's going to be out in 2028. And finally, Toyota is working on a solid-state battery technology, and this is big, which will be the holy grail of batteries. And even with a few claimed breakthroughs by a number of other startups, solid-state batteries aren't expected to arrive until the second half of the decade. That's in a best-case scenario. And let's see. As with other developers, Toyota has been working on solid-state compositions for several years, hoping to combine more compact designs that can hold more horsepower or more power with rapid charging and discharging capabilities.
So the trade-off until now has been a shorter battery life. However, Toyota's recent technological advancements have overcome this challenge, and the company has switched its focus to putting solid-state batteries into mass production. Toyota expects to have full production of solid-state batteries by the end of the decade. They're promising a 20% increase in range. They keep saying this over and over and over, and a fast charge of 10 minutes. Now, that's an improvement.
Yes.
That's pretty ambitious. But Toyota is betting on one other factor to increase EV range, even with these next generation of batteries, aerodynamics. And this means batteries that will have to be flatter. If the height of the battery can be reduced, then it follows that the overall height of the vehicle can be reduced, aerodynamics can be improved, and overall range can be increased. We've already gotten a preview of just how low Toyota will go with the new 2023 Prius hybrid, which features a very rakish windshield to squeeze out more aerodynamic efficiency.
So it looks like your gas-guzzling Civic is on the chopping blocks.
Right. So my Civic already gets 38 miles to the gallon, which is pretty good.
Yeah. Well, today's battery pack, including casing, is around 150 millimeters, so that's just under 6 inches. And Toyota plans to reduce the battery height down to 4.7. And for the high-performance sport cars, is going to get down even smaller than that. So they are on the right track, and I think what you're going to see are some really, we're already seeing them really in some of the auto stuff that I look at, some very sleek and very attractive cars, because you don't have the big motor sitting up front, and so they get a nice rake on them. They're really nice looking. I don't like electric cars that much, but I think they're here to stay. I mean, can we make that same sleek design with hydrogen? I don't know.
Probably.
Anyway,
Sherri, up next. This big-ticket purchase may be a grenade in your otherwise well-planned retirement. Lifestyle creep is the tendency to upgrade your lifestyle as you earn more. An upgrade people are often tempted to make, the purchase of a second home, may be particularly risky for long-term planning. There are people who think they can afford it, but don't realize it's going to impact their ability to reach their other financial goals, one of which is retirement. However, many people tend to convince themselves the house will appreciate, which they can then monetize or liquidate when they need it for retirement. The purchase of a boat is another example of a big-ticket transaction that can significantly reduce a retirement nest egg. Boats can be money pits. Just ask us.
Amen.
They're done that. A $50,000 boat may cost $15,000 to $25,000 a year to keep up between insurance, storage, and maintenance. Lake house, we can testify to that as well. Every time you buy something, there are unexpected expenses. If you can cover them, it's great. But if you have to borrow from your 401k to fix things, that's a disaster. Always look at the worst-case scenario before making a big purchase. And when you create a budget for this new item, be honest about it. Count every last penny that it will take to make the purchase, maintain, and operate this item. Boats are interesting. A lot of first-time boat owners don't consider the price of fuel. If you want to ski or other go-fast boats, the fuel to run them can be expensive because you'll probably fill the tank at the marina. Let the data you get make your decision. If you can afford it, great. If you feel like you're making it work, you may
already be on the wrong side of the equation at that point.
Right.
Yep. Anyway, that's a good point, though. I mean, how much money is wasted on good ideas? I mean, people want to go to the mountains. They want to be on a lake. They want to have a boat. And it's
or be
fun.
At the beach.
Or at the beach. But just think about all the costs that go into it, because once you buy like a house, my goodness, you buy that, you got to furnish it, then all the stuff that goes with it. The boats, boat stands for about another $1,000. That's what it means. So every time we turned around with our boat, it was about that.
Always something.
Always something. They always say the best days for buying a boat for yourself is the day you buy it and the day you sell it. So anyway,
I agree with that. And the other
too.
thing, if you have a lake house or a beach house or some place that you bought, and now you're at a point in life where you just can't go there very often, and you don't really want to sell it because you want your kids to inherit it, get on Airbnb and start renting it out. Make some money off of it.
Yep. Greenwashing backlash sparks ESG exodus. And we've talked about the ESGs, the environmental, social, and governments that has dominated the investing world. However, according to Bloomberg, a seismic shift is underway as BlackRock and other money managers unwound an increasingly number of green products amid soaring backlash of investor scrutiny.
I have clients that hate BlackRock because of this.
Well, they're unwinding it, so maybe they'll get back in good graces with them. Data from Morningstar shows State Street, Columbia, Threadneedle Investments, Janus, Henderson Group, the Harper Funds Management Group have unwound more than 24 ESG funds this year alone. The latest unwind comes from BlackRock, who told investors last Friday it plans to close down 2 ESG emerging market bond funds with a total of $55 million. So far this year, the number of ESG funds closing is more than the last 3 years combined. This trend comes as investors pull money out of these funds as ESG bubbles has likely already popped. By June, BlackRock dropped the term ESG.
Thank God.
Yeah, following billions of dollars pulled out of the funds by Republican governor, most notably the $2 billion pulled out by Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis.
The crux of the issue that Republican lawmakers have with radical ESG funds is that they were trying to impose green initiatives on the corporate level to force change in society. Also, let's not forget about the greenwashing across ESG industry. Greenwashing is a marketing tactic that companies use to lure in environmentally conscious customers despite the products or services being anything but that. Then businesses represent themselves as sustainable by providing false or misleading information about their practices. That's greenwashing. And here was the thing that eats my lunch about this. Talk to your kids that are in their first jobs, whatever, and ask them if they're in green funds, because it's a lie. People see the ESG and they think that they're supporting some socially sustainable, good, positive thing, and it's a load of garbage because it'll have tobacco companies right in there with it. I mean, it's not what it says it is.
We've talked about this before. It's like you can pull up almost any website, any oil producer, and they claim to be ESG friendly, and really all they've done is they may be trying to be more friendly to the environment, but they're still out there digging up ground, and they're doing all the things that they normally did. They just changed their mission statement and put some nice words on the website.
Some carbon offsets.
Right. So it's smoke and mirrors is what it is.
Yes, is what it is. I'm really happy to see this.
Yep. So these sorts of claims can range from big oil companies running ads showcasing how they can help save butterflies to manufacturers of disposable consumer goods, highlighting their use of recycled raw materials in a tiny minority of their products. Consumers may not always be aware of greenwashing in corporate advertising and the media. That's despite some of the biggest corporations in the world being accused of engaging in the practice. Exactly what we were just talking about. Fast fashion brand H&M, for example, is currently being sued in New York federal court for making false claims that its conscious collection is sustainable. In reality, the company uses more water to manufacture items in its collection than its regular clothes.
I thought it was very interesting.
Yeah, but now you take a look at California. Even though Exxon is ESG friendly on their website, is being sued. They're suing Exxon for not being friendly enough and is harming their waterways. And all the bad policies that California has put out has caused a water shortage. And now they're blaming it on Exxon. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. They're going to come after their money anyway.
Halftime already.
Oh, it is. Wow.
Can you believe it?
No. Anyway, you've been listening to Your Money with Randy and Sherri Goss with Rosenberg Financial Group. And if you'd like to call in today and to contribute to the show, the number is 478-742-0940. Rosenberg Financial Group has offices in Macon and Warner Robins, and you can learn more about us by visiting our website, retirerelax.com. We offer complimentary consultations, and setting up an appointment is easy. Just call our office at 478-922-8100. And we offer free seminars to the community. So if you're looking for a guest speaker, give us a call. Back to you, Sherri.
So this affects about everybody that's listening to the show, I guess. Home insurance outlook for 2023, and this was updated in August. Inflation and extreme weather are expected to deliver another blow to home insurance costs in 2023. The last 2 years saw home insurance cost hikes. The average home insurance rate increased by 9% in 21, which eclipsed the 7% average rate the previous year, according to the Insurance Information Institute. Homeowners should expect more of the same in 2023. Here are homeowner insurance trends that we can expect in the coming year. The Consumer Price Index. Let's go to the phones. Good morning. You're on with Randy and Sherri.
Well, good morning. How are you?
Hey, we're fantastic.
Well, fantastic. Well, I've been listening to y'all on Saturdays for a while, and that's I'm going to retire at the end of this year, so I'm getting my will and everything put back together.
Good.
And so the question I have is, I've got several properties, and that when I retire, I plan on buying more. Can I do a will online and have like an attachment page, and, you know, as it increases and decreases, just change that page?
So we met with an attorney a few years ago, and we were concerned about property we own and listing it all on the will, and the attorney advised us not to do it because it would always be changing. And our situation is simple in that everything pretty much goes split between two kids, and they will have to just hash out who wants to keep what when we die. But she recommended not adding it. And the only thing we added that was unique on our will is we have an automotive shop that our son runs, and what he's benefiting from on that needs to be deducted from what he totally gets. Just like my dad gifted land to my brother and my sister, so in his will he had that in there so that they got less money when we sold Dad's property after he died to equalize the estate. So is yours pretty simple where it's all going to go equally to kids?
Right, but there's a bunch of them. So.
As long as you have an inventory and they understand the inventory, I wouldn't put it on there because you'll have to constantly be paying to update it.
But I would also recommend that's really an attorney kind of question, to speak with an attorney and see what they say. Of course, they might say you need to update it every year, but it might make it cleaner in the long run.
Right, because I've helped out other kids just like you did with the shop and all that.
Yeah.
Where, it's not going to be fair, but it's fair over the lifetime. How's that sound?
That's how we look at it as well.
Yep.
We have an LLC set up for all of our properties, and so anytime we buy a property, it goes into that. So when we pass that, that will be part. They will both basically be 50% owners in that. So that's how we've got ours set up. Plus, we can write off the expenses.
What's the additional insurance?
What's that?
What's the additional insurance policy that we have for trip and fall and all that kind of stuff?
The umbrella policy.
Yeah. Do you have an umbrella policy to protect yourself?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Good
huge. People don't realize it. I don't know why every insurance agent doesn't offer that, because if you have a rental property and somebody trips on your uneven piece of concrete and wants to sue you for breaking their hip, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, people are looking at suing for anything. It just, even people that seem rational, because it's just, I mean, you drive down I-75 and every billboard is telling you to sue somebody.
Big rigs,
Well,
it doesn't matter. There's somebody wanting to help you sue someone else.
Yeah.
And it's so inexpensive too, because
it's cheap.
I talked my son into it, and that he got into an accident on Broadway. Somebody had the lights out 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, jeez.
But if he didn't have it, he'd have really been in trouble. So
yes. So how many houses or how many properties do you have now, if you don't mind us asking?
17.
Good
wow.
for you. That's
busy.
That's a nice stream of income.
All right. Well, I was fortunate enough, back in 10, 11, and 12, I was buying a lot of stuff very inexpensive.
Yep.
It's turned out to be nice rental property, and that's how I'm able to retire. So.
That's amazing.
Good for you.
Are you managing them all yourself?
Absolutely.
Wow. That's
easiest thing I ever did in my life. How's that? So.
Now, do you do you put the sweat equity into it? Something breaks, you go fix it, or do you contract that out?
I've got some people that was help me remodeling all that over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to be 65 and I'm kind of slowing down. I don't get on ladders anymore and all that sort of stuff.
I agree.
So,
well, that is very smart of you. I mean, this is what people need to realize when they're going into retirement, and what we do and what you're doing, is creating that stream of income that's coming in, because that's going to offset your what you were earning in your working years. So, good for you.
Well, your Social Security ain't going to cut it. That's for sure.
That's for sure.
Right.
Well, it's a good thing. I'm glad to hear you got 17 properties and making good money off of them.
That's awesome.
A lot of folks, when they go out and they want to get into this game, the real estate game, they don't know what they're doing, and they can lose a lot of money quickly. Because I remember back when I was in the military, a friend of mine says, "Hey, I just bought 5 houses." I'm like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, can I borrow some tools? Because I got to go fix them now." I'm like, I'll loan you some tools. So when I got them back, they were all ruined. So I learned a lesson there too myself. So
and just like I tell the young ones all the time, I said I live way below my means. My poor old truck's got 600,000 miles on it.
Wow.
And, none of the grandkids can get in it because I got too many tools.
That's funny.
That's okay. Just make them jog along beside you.
Yay! Thanks for the call. Appreciate you listening.
Would you recommend me going to an attorney with what I have?
Yes.
Or
yes.
do it online?
I think with what you've got, it's pretty. It could be very complex, and yet they might be able to point some things out that you're not going to get just from going and getting an online one of those $100 wills from LegalZoom. So I'd recommend, if you want to call the office. What's that?
Okay. You just want me to call the office? I can do that.
Yeah, call the office. We've got a list of about 5 different attorneys that.
Yeah, we can send it to you.
We can send that to you.
Well, perfect. I will do that. I'm gonna take a Marine back to Camp Lejeune tomorrow. So.
How nice.
So.
Very good.
Very nice.
Thank you for calling. Thanks for listening.
All right.
All righty. So let's see here. Inflation leads to higher home insurance claims. The Consumer Price Index increased by 7.7% over the 12-month period that ended on October 2022. Earlier in the year, the index grew a whopping 9% in the 12 months that ended in June. The jump was the largest increase in 40 years. These inflationary costs are leading to higher home insurance claim costs and squeezing home insurers. Inflation directly influences home insurance rates because the bulk of policyholder premiums are spent on repairing and restoring property. Now, the supply chain issues. Supply chain issues caused disruptions during the height of the COVID pandemic in 2020 and the lockdowns. Labor shortages and distribution bottlenecks caused empty shelves, blah, blah, blah. You already know this. Those issues for basic necessities are largely in the past, but supply chain problems remain for building materials. These supply chain issues are leading to more expensive construction costs. Wow, we're living in that. Home insurance claims, and as a result, home insurance rates. And then it's extreme weather, which includes hurricanes, freezes, and wildfires, has led to higher home insurance quotes and caused multiple insurers to go out of business or drop policies in high-risk areas.
Right.
I've been wondering when this was going to hit the fan.
Yeah, and weather-related insurance claims for water damage increased 329% between 2020 and 2021, and catastrophic claims rose more than 222%. Louisiana and Texas had the biggest home insurance losses, while Colorado, Nebraska saw the highest average loss cost over the past 7 years. Louisiana had 2 Category 4 hurricanes, Laura in 2020, and then Ida in 2021. That led to more than 800,000 property claims, resulting in $22 billion in insured losses.
Hurricane Ian decimated parts of Florida last year and gave another wallop to the Florida home insurance market. The Insurance Information Institute estimates insured's losses may top $60 billion, making it the second largest insured loss event in U.S. history, behind only Hurricane Katrina in 2005. These losses will result in higher home insurance rates in Florida and Gulf Coast states this year. It's not just hurricanes causing home insurance problems. Freezes in Texas, wildfires in California, tornadoes and storms in the Midwest have led to billions of dollars of home insurance claims.
Right, and insurers of last resort stretched. Multiple factors have caused problems for home insurance companies, which have sought hefty rate hikes. Insurers have to file their rate increases with the state insurance departments and seek approval. If an insurance company can't get the rate they think will make them solvent, they won't write new policies. Multiple insurers have closed, stopped selling new policies, or fled high-risk states. The trend has caused millions of policyholders to turn to their state's home insured of last resort.
In Louisiana, weather-related claims led 11 small regional insurers to fail. Another 12 insurers left the state, and more than 50 others aren't writing new business in hurricane-prone areas. The state-run insurer of last resort, Louisiana Citizen Property Insurance Corp., has seen its policyholders triple since January 2021. To offset those costs, Louisiana regulators recently approved a staggering 63% average home insurance rate hike for Louisiana Citizen Properties Insurance. 114,000 home policyholders. The rate increase is effective January 1, 2023, and won't affect current citizen policyholders until they renew their policies after that date, which is coming up. Friedlander says private home insurance companies may follow with their own substantial rate increases. Florida's state-run insurer of last resort, Citizens, saw its policyholders grow to over 1 million members after multiple home insurance companies went out of business or stopped selling policies in the Sunshine State. Florida's problems aren't only weather-related. Roof replacement claim fraud schemes and excessive litigation against insurers caused instability in the home insurance market. Nearly 80% of all property claim lawsuits in the U.S. were filed in Florida. Is that insane?
Yes, it
Last
is.
year, Friedlander says no other state had more than 3,600 property claim lawsuits in 2021, including California. So the reason I'm talking about this is because there are lots of people out there that have second homes, and they like to go to Florida. They like to have a beach house. If your insurance is going to go up this much when you get your next bill, you might want to think about selling it, because I don't think it's going to get any better. I think we're going down a slippery slope when it comes to home insurance and weather-related incidents and property values being up. And the more people that move to Florida, the more they push the property values even higher and the insurance costs even greater. So I don't know that I would want to have a house sitting down there that I only go visit once a quarter.
Right.
I think I would sell it and do an Airbnb instead and get out from under all of this mess. So Florida allowed its state-run insurer of last resort, Citizens, to increase home insurance rates by an average of 6.4% in 2022. But they warn the lower average increase may cause Citizens to struggle, especially since Citizens is expected to balloon to 1.5 million policyholders. So if they go under, there is no insurance.
Right.
That's the bottom line.
And you know, one of the things, we kind of got into this little bad boy insurance situation ourselves. We had 2 claims within 2 years on the same home.
Oh, it's terrible.
And the second one, we didn't even file the claim. But the insurance company, if you call and even ask a question on a property, you know, like a what if, they will write it up as
yes, they ding you for it.
They ding you for it. So our lake house property insurance, you know, like quadrupled easy. And where I'm going with this is this: it made us stop and go, well, are we really happy with our insurance provider? And at that time, you know, it was a company that all the military people use, and
it has 4 letters in its name.
Yes. and so we decided to shop around. Well, we ended up going with a company out of Warner Robins Alpha Insurance Agency, and we've been so pleased because we can call and talk to a person, the guy who owns the business there, and was able to shop around and find us rates that were, they weren't they weren't even a half of what the other company was charging us. So I'm really enjoying the banks that is more community-based, the insurance companies that they're community-based.
Where you can look somebody in the face.
That's right. I mean, I can pick up the phone. We have a great conversation every time I talk to them. I never thought I'd have a fun, jovial conversation with my insurance agent, but this guy's that way.
This is nice.
But so if you're into, like our last caller, into buying properties, think about your insurance that you have, and if you're not even into buying properties, think about what you've got. Price it around. It's your money.
Yep.
So,
very good.
Anyway, let's moving on. We've talked about this before, but this was something that came across one of my feeds, and I wanted to bring it back up. And I wanted to talk about it because it seems like prices are inflated on just about everything, even things you wonder why. For instance, Spectrum recently increased its internet service by 40%, and maybe. Let me flip page here. Maybe it's the cost of labor or supplies that have increased. I don't know, but 40% is a substantial increase. Other streaming services have done so as well. But there are other options out there, and this is the one I wanted to talk about today. There's a company out of Canada that just came up with this new 4th generation Tablo TV, Tablo. This device provides whole house DVR and allows you to watch TV without the cable bill. The DVR looks like a large white hockey puck. You can just set it on your, beside your television, and it doesn't even have to be near your television. As long as it has coax feed to it, then you're fine. You simply connect the coax to your TV and align the antenna for best reception. This device will sync to your home's Wi-Fi, and you will have the ability to record TV shows. Its TV show guide interface looks a lot like that of Amazon and Google Smart TVs and works with about any streaming device you can think of. It will store about 50 hours of recording on its built-in hard drive, and if you wanted to buy more, you can, but I cannot imagine having 50 hours recorded TV. I have used a product similar to this, but that was about 10 years ago, and the antenna looks like a sheet of paper, and it's about as thick as a credit card, and it's really easy to install. On the downside, you don't get the cable reception at times, like if it's bad weather or sunspots or whatever. It gets a little pixelated. And I plugged mine in and placed the antenna in the window and got good reception on a few channels when the weather was right. When the atmospheric conditions are not optimal, it's going to be a little muffled.
Is that going to be the case with this thing?
It is. It very well can be, but I'm getting to that. This device offers 40 of its own streaming channels as well, but that's for a price. Like I said, we had one in the past, and it worked better at different times of the day. And it was good in the mornings when we wanted to hear the local radio when we're getting dressed, or local TV. But before you buy, I recommend visiting the Federal Communications Commission's FCC website and search for DTV, or digital TV, reception maps. Here you're going to put in your zip code, click the go button, and you'll see the list of stations that you can receive for free. I entered the 31201 zip code and saw that I can receive 7 strong signals to include WMAZ, WGXA for Fox, and these were all extremely strong signals. So you can go on there and check that out for yourself. And the other nice thing about it is you can click on each one of those channels, and it will place, it'll show the zip code, but then it will show where the broadcast tower is in relation to that property. So then you're able to maybe better position the antenna in that direction. So if you're tired of the big cable bills, this is an option. The device costs about $110, and you can recoup that in 1 month compared to the cable bill. The other good option to the cable bill is streaming TV, where you can pay a specific service. You just basically get internet into your home for the cheapest price you can get, and then do some ad hoc, like Roku or Netflix or whatever, and then you can really pare back your cable bill. Anyway.
I have people that are paying $200 a month for cable, and they only watch a couple of channels.
I mean, what's the old saying? There's 900 channels and nothing on.
Yeah.
So that's about what you see now.
Very good. So I get a question like this all the time. Should I take a pension lump sum or make a monthly pension, or take the monthly pension payments? If you retire from the military or a company that has a pension plan that cannot be rolled over into an IRA, you retire and receive that monthly payment for the rest of your life. However, there are pension funds that can be rolled over into IRAs, and that's what they are talking about in this article. So if you have this option, should you roll the money into an IRA or keep it in the pension? This is a question more Americans are facing. Employers have good reason to offer lump sum payments and get the pensions off their books. With interest rates at a 22-year high, it costs companies less to pay out the pension benefits they have promised workers, and the upfront payouts can be smaller when the rates are lower. So then when rates are lower. I had somebody just last week in the office, and because interest rates are up, her pension is down $100,000, and she's retiring in January, and so she's going to have a lower payment for the rest of her life, and she has no option to roll it over anyways. So among the 118 mostly large employers with pension plans that Benefits Consultant Aon surveyed in May and June, 35% said they are somewhat or very likely to offer lump sums to former employees in the next 2 years, up from 31% in 2022.
And deciding whether to take money or keep it in the pension requires doing some math and weighing the competing risks. Taking an upfront payment, as more than 40% of workers typically do, raises the odds that you'll run out of money in old age. But many workers have pension incomes that lack cost of living increases, leaving them vulnerable to the inflation risk.
So step one is run the numbers. The easiest approach is to figure out the pension income ratio. This is the annual withdrawal amount divided by the lump sum. For example, if your pension payment is $2,083 a month and your lump sum is $500,000, the rate of return is 5%. Could you earn this every year for the rest of your life by being in the market? The higher the percentage, the greater the chance this monthly payment can be made by being in the market. Look at the past 2 years when the market's been down. Finally, know the break-even point. If you took the pension option, how long would it take to get the full lump sum amount? In this example, at $25,000 a year, it takes 20 years to get back the $500,000 lump sum. 20 years for a 65-year-old is a long time to wait to get all that money. However, if you live another 20 years, then you're the winner.
That's right. And step two, ask yourself, can you beat the payout? So if the thought of being in the market in retirement scares you, and this is your situation now, some annuity products are offering guarantees over 5% interest rate, and they're up right now. Or if you don't mind market volatility and are not totally dependent on this money to fund your monthly expenses, you may want to invest this money in an IRA that has a market exposure.
Loss of purchasing power. Pension income is typically level, so you steadily lose purchasing power over time as prices increase. In our example, the $25,000 of pension income in year one is roughly worth only $15,000 in 25 years, assuming a 2% inflation rate. The loss of purchasing power is an important trade-off to understand. Your future self may regret taking the annual pension payout if it doesn't keep up with your standard of living. On the other hand, your spending may decrease later in life. If you're less active, you may need less income, unless a severe health event like long-term care is needed, which is a large expense. If you have other assets growing in the stock market that can make up for the loss in pension purchasing power, that helps too. Some pensions provide inflation-adjusted income, which is highly valuable.
Yeah, and if you'd like to take the pension income, you can take more or less money in any given year. If you take the lump sum, you can't take it. I'm sorry. What I was trying to say was, if you take the pension income, you can't take more or less money in any given year. If you take the lump sum, you can. If you would like to take the lump sum, you can skip a withdrawal or take out more for vacation or emergency. You have more control.
So, will you use the lump sum to buy a boat, a lavish vacation? The point is, can you control your spending? As Shakespeare wrote, "To thine own self be true." You must be honest with yourself. Spendthrifts may be better off taking the pension or buying an annuity with the lump sum if it helps with monthly budgeting. And I've seen cases where the annuity saved people from themselves, and I've seen cases where the lump sum was blown in a matter of years.
That's right.
So be honest with yourself. No inheritance. The final trade-off is, how much do you value leaving the pension asset to your family? At least with moving the lump sum to an IRA, your kids can inherit the balance when you pass, whereas the annuity pension just goes away. Which is the better choice? It really depends on your situation and the pension numbers. Let me see here. There is much more to consider on whether the annuity strategy is right for you. I encourage you to call our office and ask for a complimentary consultation with me or Jonathan. We'd be happy to help you through this decision because it can be complicated and overwhelming. I've had a lot of people come to me with this that were just struggling, like, am I really going to do the right thing? What do you see that I'm missing here? And so we don't charge anything, so come and see us and talk about it.
Right. You know, you were talking about people taking the lump sum. I have a friend that once they retired from the military, they cashed out the entire TSP and went and bought a giant truck. That was it. I mean, all these years saving.
And paid taxes on all of it.
Yeah, they
at
had
one
to pay
time.
taxes on everything, and then they had a truck. They bought it a diminishing value asset. You know, so basically they just wasted all the years of savings for their retirement.
That makes me sick.
It made me sick when they pulled up and showed me the truck. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know. So anyway.
Wow.
Anyway, drug shortages are reaching near record levels in the United States. There were 309 active drug shortages in the second quarter of this year, the most in nearly a decade, and rising sharply over the last 2 years. Nearly a third of 1,100 hospital pharmacists in a recent survey reported having some medicines available to fill prescriptions. So, and
think about the effects of shortages like this. These shortages could cause delays or the cancellation of treatments or procedures. Not only that, shortages can cause people to forego their maintenance meds. And I imagine some of these conditions could be serious, like heart issues.
Yep.
Good morning. You're on with Randy and Sherri.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm pretty good. My name is Harry, and I heard you talking earlier in the show about Biden becoming a UAW member.
Yes.
And I guess the commander-in-chief of the union. But I also heard you talking a few moments about Congress and the shutdown.
Right.
And I just want to say that, you know, this happens every year.
Yep.
And if they want to do what it says, they just need to do what's in the Constitution. The president, and y'all probably know this, but I don't know if y'all talked about it, but the president gives them a budget in February. They've got to September.
Right.
In years that end in odd numbers, they take the whole month of August off. And a few years ago, they did a resolution that ended in December, which was a month, of course, after the elections, which I thought was stupid. But our Congress is abusing their powers and their people. And to me, it's kind of obvious. They get paid $174,000 a year, and they're not working. They get 30 days of recess a year, plus they get holidays. So I just want to say all that. I'm just very...
Plus, they have insider information on what stocks are going to benefit from the bills they pass, and they can go out and buy the stock and make a pile of money with no repercussion.
And they're making, or I'll say not making decisions with us in mind out in the general public. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, and I can't remember the exact topic. Maybe it was the shutdown, but they don't seem to care about what's going to happen to the general public out here.
And how much money they're wasting.
What we were talking about, the shutdown is exactly what we were talking about. I mean, you've got people that have been told at the base down here already, don't come to work next week. And you know, then you think about all the people that might be caught up in that. So if they have somebody that comes and cuts their grass or does something like that, they're going to probably get furloughed too in one way or another. It trickles down. So it's going to affect a lot of people. And one of the people I don't remember who said it, but they said they just don't care what happens. They have their plan and they want to stick to it. And there's no negotiation like we used to see many, many years ago.
Right.
But this is something, I'm glad you brought this up, because this is something that is happening all the time. And we have to remember that for the markets, you know, that doesn't mean everything's going to crash. You know, I mean, we may have some volatility because of it, but it's historically
it's not caused.
Yeah, it's not caused any big shift. So,
yeah.
Well, can I ask a question too?
Yeah.
Okay. Talking about Biden and the UAW. Now, mentioned in 2008 the workers saved the companies, and I realized I made sacrifices, but I remember there were some government loans too that helped during the shutdown that they made the car companies. But y'all said industrials were kind of flat in the market.
Right.
So are they really selling a lot of cars now? Because I keep still hearing about a lot of shortages on cars.
And the prices are way up.
Prices are. I'm not sure about the how many they're selling, but they seem to be making a profit right now. So, and that may be why the unions have decided right now to make the strike happen.
Based on the car sales people that I know, they made a fortune last year.
Yeah.
During COVID, they made a fortune.
Yeah.
So
and I hate to cut, but we are at the 1 minute mark, and we do appreciate your call.
Thank
call
you.
Back, call back anytime.
All right, thank you.
Have a great day.
All right, everybody, thanks for listening to Your Money, produced by Rosenberg Financial Group. And as financial advisors, the main thing that we do is provide retirement planning advice and manage our clients' investment accounts. And if you're looking for a financial advisor, please contact our office to set up a complimentary consultation. Our office number is 478-922-8100, and you can learn more about us by visiting our website, retirerelax.com. If you have a question or a topic you'd like for us to cover in next week's broadcast, email me, randy@rfmoney.com, and we look forward to connecting with you next week.
Very good.
Securities and investment advisory services offered through Osaic Wealth Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Osaic Wealth is separately owned, and other entities and or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent of Osaic Wealth.